Today we're going to learn how to put a grid on our rodeo pictures. This is the rodeo picture that I've chosen. If you look, the paper is 11 inches long, but the actual picture itself is 10 inches long. So what we're going to be making is a 10 or an 8 by 10, 8 inches this way by 10 inches that way grid, and it's going to be a 1-inch grid. You can see I have my tape measure out. You guys are going to be using rulers, but I have the tape measure out so that you can see very clearly what numbers I'm going to be using. Now the reason why artists use grids is because it helps them see where they need to be drawing things. The purpose of a grid is not like the way Chuck Close used it, to where you do each tiny square at once, but it's just supposed to be a guide to show you where you draw things. Now, what I need to do first is line the edge of my ruler up. You see, this is 0. Even though it doesn't say 0, it's 1 inch from the end. So I need to make a mark at 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the end right here is my 10th inch. Now a lot of you guys at this point will want to just draw your line straight across, but how do you know that that's straight? The way we're going to know that it's straight is we're going to measure again on the other side. If you don't do this, I promise you, you're going to mess up somewhere and have to erase your whole grid, and that is not fun. So I'm going to line it back up on this side. 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6, 7, 8, 9, and again 10 is down here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but now I'm going to kind of play connect the dots. So connect the dots, la la la, connect the dots, la la la. We're going to do this with a ruler, but I'm not ready to get my ruler out yet. This thing's flimsy, not very easy to do. I'm going to flip it around and do the top. Now I know this is a bit redundant and repetitive, but I want you guys to just see me measure it out. Now I'm using a pen. I'd like for you guys to use a pencil so that you can erase. I'm using pens so you can see what I'm doing. So 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is at the end. And then we're going to go down this way. Line it up at the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is at the end. Now if you see, I have dots all the way around my page. That is what I want your pages to look like before you start drawing your lines. Okay, like I told you guys before, I don't have a ruler with me, but I've got the edge of this spiral notebook. It's actually something that I can trust to be a little bit straighter than a ruler, because in my classroom, most of my students bend and break my rulers. So this is actually going to be a perfect straight edge. So I'm lining up my first one, my 1 inch to 1 inch. Draw a straight line across, make sure I'm connecting to both of those dots. And then I'm going to move up to the next one, 2 inches to 2 inches. Line up my dots all the way on the edge. And draw again. Now I'm going to continue doing this until I have all my lines going vertically across my page. Okay, so now you can see, nope, that's upside down, that I have my lines going all the way across. So this is the 1st inch, 2nd inch, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So I have 8 inches across. Now I need to make sure that I do my horizontal lines. I'm going to use my trusty spiral edge again. Line up 1 inch to 1 inch and draw my line across. You want to make this as precise as possible, and if you make a mistake, do not feel bad about erasing it. For you to be able to use the grid properly, it needs to be drawn the same way as we draw it on the white sheet of paper. So take your time and do it the right way the first time. I'm going to draw all of my lines, and then I'm going to show you guys how to label them. Okay, so I have mine completely gridded, and you can see I have a 1 inch grid all the way across, just like you would see in math. Now the thing that I need to do is label this, but you're not going to label it like you do in math. If I'm taking this grid for math, I would label this line number 1 and this line number 2, line number 3. We're not going to do it that way. What we're going to do is we're going to label the squares. So this is square 1, square 2, square 3, pardon me, I'm writing backwards. I probably just wrote that E instead of 3, but you get the idea. 4, 5, I can't write upside down to save my life, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 total squares, not lines, so we're just counting the squares. This is going to be square A, square B, square C, D, E, F, G, and H. So now I know that if I need to find the top of my windmill, it is in square C1, B1, and D1. If I want to find the top of my building, it's in E6, D6, and a little bit in F6. So the squares have their own little coordinates.